I'm Steve Arcone. I have an exhibit of ice photographs here at AVA. Ice, what I call in the abstract, because the photographs emphasize structure and composition and have almost no depth of field. I'm standing here with my macro imaging camera, which is really a kind of telephoto camera for close-ups of ice formations. And this is Chambers Pond, my main studio. It's about 160 feet long, about 60 feet wide, and maybe 3 feet deep at the far end. When ice first arrives in mid-November, it's about a centimeter thick. There are three big advantages to photographing ice in a pond. As the camera pans around, you can see there are many branches that have, because of trees that have fallen over, they perforate the water, and that's where ice begins to grow, because those are the coldest objects. They'll grow in star-like formations, as you'll see later in my photographs from the fall. And the second advantage of this pond is that the cold water will preserve the color of the fall leaves that will float right up to the bottom of the ice. So instead of always getting black ice because there's no objects below, we'll begin to see red ice and usually yellow ice. Makes a very nice background to the composition. There's a third advantage to this pond. As the pond water recedes, I'm standing on a widening mud apron. All around the pond is a mud apron. It lets me get up close to the ice formations, but the mud apron itself will form holes in the, or pockets, mainly due to deer trampling over the soft mud. It'll rain, then the rain will freeze, and I'll get beautiful formations featuring curvilinear fractures. So the next part of this video presentation will be indoors, and we'll be able to see some of the pictures that I've taken. Because the pond was not frozen, I've moved indoors to show and discuss 4 images of the pond that illustrate my approach to finding abstract compositions within frozen and partially frozen nature. 3 of them are close-up macro images and illustrate my merging of art with science, or finding art within scientific processes. The first image shows Chambers Pond in the morning after an all-night freeze in mid-November. It was about 9:30 daylight savings time. The pond was illuminated by sunlight, highlighted by reflections from trees on the far shore and by blue sky in the foreground. Although seemingly unfrozen where highly reflective, the pond was completely frozen and ice was no thicker than 1 centimeter, allowing leaves below to be seen when shooting overhead. There are numerous formations within the ice, particularly the star at center, in which blades had grown radially, as they always do. There are also blades that fan into feather or fern-like formations, mosaics between blades, and when the weather gets warm, melt pools on the ice. The patterns these formations make, either by repetition or because of nearby synchronous growth, are what make my abstract compositions. The second image is of an area about 30 centimeters wide. It shows a star during an early December 7-day cycle of thaw and refreeze. I call it Polaris because of the star-like quality. Some blades have broken away, melted, and recrystallized. There are actually 4 stars, each of a different color and distributed around the image because of the underlying vegetation. As with most abstracts, there is hardly a hint of depth, but plenty of vegetation to give the unfamiliar viewer a hint of what he or she might be looking at. Although there is an obvious focal point, I hope the image lends viewers to take in the structural and colorful differences between blades, each being a focal area in itself. This is an image about 40 centimeters wide, and of ice generated by a crystallographic process known as twinning, whereby ice blades grow out from other blades, usually at a 30 or 60 degree angle. In this case, there are also mosaics caused by very small blades. As twins grow, they are likely to merge into other blades. Fine mosaics were created by the same twinning process, but with identical spacing of twins. The variation of blade and mosaic quality and random orientation, two-dimensional quality, and so few vegetative hints led me to name this image Fantasies and Inventions. Moving left, is an image of an area about 8 centimeters wide. It shows elliptical blue pools resting on black ice. Black because there was no debris against its bottom to color the ice. The pools repeat in various lengths and orientations, and the surrounding leaves provide a triangular frame to the ice. The elliptical rings were caused by an optical interference process related to the capillary tension where water meets ice edges. Again, it has the quality of a two-dimensional, flat, abstract design and appropriately named blue lagoons.